hopping into round number 2 right now. Current record is 1-0. Going against this Melmetal Dodrio deck. Going first is not bad. Maybe get some early evolutions in here. Could be really helpful. Putting that Moltres in the active spot, Growlithe on the bench. We do have type advantage, so I'm probably just going to be attaching energy to Moltres and seeing if we can get some pretty early knockouts. Gonna throw Old Amber on the bench. Make sure he can't use that Sabrina to bring my Growlithe up to the active spot. He is just gonna use this Amass, looks like. Melmetal, I believe, has 130 health, does 120 damage, if I'm not mistaken. For 4 energy, and then takes 20 less damage from opponent's attacks. Let's see if we can get some heads here. 1 heads is not bad. I am going to attach it to this Moltres because we want to get some early pressure in here. Gonna power up that Moltres. Should be about 1 more turn before we can start attacking. If he doesn't evolve this turn, we will be able to knock this Melton out. Or in the next turn, excuse me. Gonna attach, I think, to the active. Spread out some of that energy a little bit. Need at least 1 heads right now. And we do get the 1, not bad. Gonna attach that to the benched Moltres. I would assume he has the Melmetal at this point. 8 cards left in deck. 2 Melmetals in deck. With type advantage, we should be able to win this game. Evolving the benched Melmetal. Okay, he has both Melmetals. Going to be dealing 120 damage. He does 2-shot us as well as we 2-shot him. It would be pretty nice if we could top deck a Sabrina right now. Getting red carded actually helps us in this situation. Get us a little bit further into that deck. Not a great hand to draw into. We are going to use the Pokeball to try to get some of these basic Pokemon out of here. I am going to use X Speed and retreat into this other Moltres. Threaten a knockout next turn. Let's see what he does. He does have 2 copies of Potion in the deck. There is the Potion. There's the heavy impact. Let's see if we can't get an Arcanine right now. Not bad. I'm going to go ahead and start attaching to the Growlithe, I think. Yeah, I kind of have to go into that Arcanine. I'm not too sure what our options are in this game. That Potion really helped him out. He is going to take this knockout. I don't really think there's a whole lot we can do right now. Especially not with that Pokeball. We are going to try. Yeah, I'm just not seeing it. He played that really well. Lost game 1. Not a huge deal. Let's see. Maybe in this next game if we can get a few more heads with our Moltres, that would help us a lot. Really good starting hand by him. Played it really well. Let's see what we can do in game number 2 here. Maybe get some early aggression in this game. We do have the Charmander in the active spot. Not a bad starting card. We can threaten a 2-turn knockout on the Melton. It looks like he doesn't have the Melton in the starting hand. We do have the Moltres. We're just going to use X speed and get back to that Moltres now. Use that research, see what we can draw into. Throw that old Amber on the bench. He does have 2 copies of Sabrina in the deck. Sabrina does force you to move your Pokemon to the active spot. If you have the old Amber on the bench, you can set up your Pokemon. And then you're not threatened by Sabrina moving your setup Pokemon to the active spot. You can just move the old Amber to the active spot. You can discard it at any point. Really strong card. If you are not using any sort of fossils in your deck, I would advise you to go check them out. Fossils are really strong. It looks like we can get this Arcanine set up. Let's see if we can get some more heads this time around. Just 1 heads. Not too bad. Hoping to get something more on this next turn. Just 1 heads will let us use our Inferno on Rush. If he has that Melmetal, it does have 150 acting HP, taking 20 less damage. So if we can use a Sabrina or a Giovanni, we can get around that. As well as Arcanine putting some really big pressure onto these Meltons that really like to use a mass to charge up. Using Pokeball here, getting some more Pokemon onto the bench, thin out the deck a little bit more, evolving into Arcanine. I'm going to attach onto the bench, use Inferno Dance, hopefully get some heads here, threaten a knockout next turn. There we go, 2 heads, really big. Put 1 onto Arcanine and 1 onto the Charmander. Start building up that Charizard on the bench. He has 2 choices right now. He can either evolve the active Melton, which will make it so I can't get a knockout next turn, but he also doesn't have the energy to attack me, or he can use a mass. The smartest play would be for him to evolve, to get a little bit of stall turns in here, maybe retreat to the bench, something like that. He is going to evolve. Just going to attach from hand, it looks like. And let's see what we get. Professor's Research, not a great card to have. We can set up for a little bit later down the line. We do get that Charmeleon, that's pretty big. Just going to build up that Charizard. That is going to be our backup win condition. This Arcanine's going to be huge, sitting in the active spot, putting a whole bunch of pressure on. I'm going to deal 20 damage to myself. He does have one copy of Giovanni. If he attaches from hand and uses that Giovanni, he will get the knockout this turn. Let's really hope he doesn't have that Giovanni in hand. Using Potion is fine for us. Getting up to 50 HP. We should be able to get a knockout with the Charizard. That is fine for us as well. At this point, it is going to be GG's. He's going to knock out this Arcanine. Take 2 points. He's going to have 70 acting health. Our Charizard is going to be able to knock it out with our type advantage with the 3 energy. Gonna discard the old Amber on the bench so he can't use his copies of Sabrina to take that out. And we're just gonna use Slash for a knockout right here. He has no energy equipped to anything. We can just take 2 turn knockouts on everything. We can keep attaching. He is going to be threatening a little bit of damage here. But this should be our game to take. He does have the Sabrina, so we are going to have to get out of the active spot. Not too big of a deal. He did attach to the bench, so we do have another turn. I am going to attach to the Moltres and use Inferno Dance this turn. Attach some more energy to that Charizard. If I get 2 heads right now, I could do back-to-back. And we just get one heads. I did use both copies of X Speed already. A little bit unfortunate. Gonna take another turn. Should be our game to win. He's gonna take too long to set up. Attaching to that bench. And he conceded. Alrighty, that's a GG in game number 2. Take a screenshot of that victory. This is the screen we need. It has his name on there. And that is just the pressure of Arcanine right there. Arcanine was a real MVP in that game. Coming in huge. We are hopping into game number 3 now. See if we can't bring some luck over from game number 2. We are going first, which is really helpful when you have those big evolution decks. Moltres in the active spot. Not bad. Let's see if we can get a basic Pokemon onto the bench this turn. Maybe use Research or a Pokeball to draw into one of those. Let's see here. What do we get off the top deck? Just an X Speed, so not great. I'm just going to have to pass the turn. He does have 2 Doduos, which is not bad for us. Using the Research, let's hope he does not get one of the Meltons down this turn. He does get the Pokeball, so he will have the Melton. He has the X Speed, so it looks like he will be able to set up potentially for an attack on his 3rd turn. Just going into the other Doduo. Interesting. Maybe a little bit of a misplay by him. Just wasting one of those X Speed. Definitely not bad for us. We will take all the misplays we can. Not a great top deck to have in this situation. We're just going to have to attach to the active. Um, Let me think. It doesn't really matter. We can't do anything with that move anyways. Can't attack. There's no point in using Sabrina yet. Let's see what he does on this turn. Attaching to the active spot. Definitely good for us. He is going to use a mass setup for 3 energy next turn. Let's see what we get. Professor's Research going to be really helpful. Maybe we can start accelerating this turn. There's the Charizard and another Old Amber. Very unfortunate. Terrible hand. Let's see what we can do though. Just going to have to pass the turn like that. If I don't get some sort of basic Pokemon on the bench, we are done. Provided he has the Melmetal evolution. And it looks like he doesn't have the evolution, so we can get the knockout on Melmetal this turn. That is huge for us. We have everything we need to get the Charizard on the bench this turn. Gonna go ahead and throw in Old Amber out there. Gonna use that Heat Blast, knock out that Melmetal, or the Melton, excuse me. Huge turn for us, big swing right there. Not having the evolution that turn was huge. And at this point, we can kind of just play the game out like normal. If he puts anything on the bench, we can use Sabrina to threaten that, and he concedes. Game 3 is a wrap. Match number 2 is a win for us. Just like that, Charizard EX. Moving on. Alrighty. Just hopping into round 3, game 1 against this Blastoise EX deck. We are going second. Not bad. You just have that Squirtle in the active spot. Let's see what we can do turn 1. Maybe get a Moltres out and start accelerating nice and early. If not, not too big of a deal. We do have both copies of Professor's Research in here. There's the Moltres. Let's see. We do have the X speed in hand already. So we can start accelerating this turn. We do have the Charmander in hand. Gonna go ahead and throw that Pokeball out, see what we can get off that. Get the Growlithe, not bad. It's gonna seem a little bit weird, but I am gonna use Growlithe this turn. It is going to act as sort of like a fossil in case he uses a Sabrina. Attach both those energies to Charmander. And let's see if we can't get a Charizard in here pretty soon. He does have the Wartortle on the bench, starting to attach to that. If we get an X speed this turn, we can get a really early turn 1 knockout onto the Squirtle, put a ton of pressure on him. We don't get the X speed this turn, not too big of a deal. Just going to attach to that Charmander. Going to accelerate and pass. Getting 3 heads there, a little bit more than necessary, but hey. Unless he gets a big Misty right here, game 1 is going to be a wrap. He does get quite a few heads off that. Let's see if he has the Blastoise in hand. He does have the Blastoise. So we are going to have to play this a little bit differently right now, as he can one-tap our Charizard with the type advantage. We do have Sabrina in hand, so unless he benches something else, we can knock out that Blastoise next turn. Retreating into that Charizard, gonna use Sabrina, force that Blastoise in the active spot, take a nice early knockout, and that is going to set up game number 1. Getting that game 1 win feels really good over this Blastoise deck. My opponent is claiming that I didn't check in. So he is calling for a judge right now. So we are going to have a little bit of a stall in the match. Give me just a second. Alrighty, hopping into game 2 now. Again, we did get that cleared up with the judge. No screenshots needed. Judge came in, told him that I was checked in. Just a little bit of an issue on his end. It happens. The site is quite a bit laggy sometimes with so many players online. He's starting with that Mewtwo in the active spot. Let's see if we can get something off this research to get a basic Pokemon on the bench. That's fine. Not a great hand to start with, but we can work with it. Getting the Helix Fossil on the bench. Not bad for us. Just going to attach and pass. Maybe a little bit of a slow start right now. If we can get through the 3 energy, we can use a Sabrina to... Actually, we got the Charmander, so let's just go ahead and start pressuring super early on. Just 1 energy, not bad. We do have all the cards we need. He does not run a copy of red card in his deck, so unless he can pull off some crazy sort of Misty, we are going to win this game. But we will just have to wait and see. He does get the Squirtle down. No Misty this turn, as he did use the research. Gonna throw that Charmander onto the bench. I'm going to attach to the bench and pass to him. Oh, I forgot to accelerate. That's a misplay on my part. Oh well, it's going to happen. I mean, slight misplay. If he doesn't evolve, I can use... He does evolve. I am going to switch, I think, with that Misty. Let's see what he gets off the Misty. He does get some heads. Quite a few, so we are going to have to play this out a little bit longer. I'm going to evolve into the Charizard. Let's see here. If he has the War Turtle, that would be game right there. I'm going to throw the Charmander down. Or if he has the Blastoise, excuse me. We do need to get this Blastoise into the active spot. That is the one way he can knock out my Moltres or the Charmander that's on the bench. We do get one heads. That is fine. Going to attach to the Charizard. That is our win condition at this point. All Charmander does really right now is make sure that he can't use a Sabrina to move me to the active spot. He is digging, trying to get anything that he can right now. We do get the Growlithe. We don't really need that. At this point, I can just build up a second Charmander, I think. Actually, I'm going to attach to the Moltres because that's going to force him to come in a bit sooner before I knock out the Mewtwo. If I can knock out the Mewtwo, that is going to be game. He does have a window of opportunity. It's slim, but it is there. Getting a second War Turtle down. Let's see what he can do with that. Getting another Misty. Let's hope he doesn't get another hit off this Misty. He doesn't get anything off the Misty, which is huge. We get another Moltres in the hand. That's not bad. Not what we want, though. Let's see here. I am going to use, I think, the Sabrina. I'm trying to think. I'm just going to use the Heat Blast at this point. Save that Sabrina. Force him to do something here. He does have 2 copies of Potion. It is possible that he can just heal up. He does have that Blastoise coming down, so he can threaten the knockout on the Moltres. But then we can knock out the Blastoise. We are going to need something because he could threaten a knockout on the Charmander. I can throw the Moltres onto the bench. I don't want to have that liability on the bench, but that is pretty smart of him to move that War Turtle up. Using that Sabrina making me choose here. Do I want to give him the price card? I think for now I'll give it to him. I can use Sabrina and either threaten the knockout on the Charizard or get a point. He is going to kill my Charmander, which is alright. That was a pretty smart play by him. We do get the old Amber, so I don't need to play the Moltres at this point. I'm going to use that Sabrina. Either he moves the Blastoise in the active spot or we get a knockout on the other 2 Pokemon. That may have been a little bit of a misplay. I could have used the Giovanni. That's fine though. Attached to the active Moltres. Not really a point in doing so, but just in case I need to retreat a couple of times. We have the energy anyways, so. And now he is in a bit of a tough situation. He can't promote the Wartortle to a Blastoise without me threatening a knockout. Oh, that's my bad. That was a huge misplay. Having that Moltres in the active spot gives him the last points he needs. Huge oversight on my part. That was a really bad game 2 by me. Had I knocked out that Wartortle previously, maybe there was a little bit of a chance, but overall he played that really well. Game 2 is a wrap, and we are going to game number 3 now. In round number 3. Again, going up against this Blastoise EX deck. Let's hope he doesn't get another super lucky Misty. Misty is a really good supporter card. Really helps that Blastoise set up super early. We are going second, which I'm fine with. With the Charmander in the active spot, let's see if we can get back to a Moltres on this turn. See what we draw into when we go turn 2. For now, we're going to watch what he does here. He does have the Pokeball getting something down onto the bench. Maybe just going to retreat into the baby Mewtwo. If he can get the X speed. He does not get the X speed. Getting another Charmander is not bad. Gonna put the Charmander and an old Amber down. Gonna attach to the Charmander and pass. I'm gonna need to get a Charmeleon pretty soon. If I can't get a Charmeleon, could be a little bit rough. He's gonna attack here. Looks like he might have the evolution. If he gets a heads here, he could get the knockout this turn. He does get a heads. Let's see if he has the Wartortle in hand. That is really unfortunate. Super lucky with his Misties. I mean, there's like a 50% chance he flips tails every time, and I think he's gotten more heads than tails this game, so just unfortunate, man. Let's see what we can get here. Pokeball, let's see if we can get the Moltres out. We do get the Moltres, so that helps us a ton right now. We're just going to have to discard the old Amber. Move Moltres to the active spot. He could be threatening a Sabrina play right now. He does run 2 copies of Sabrina. Let's just really hope he doesn't have that. Getting 2 heads is not bad. Looks like he's going to go for the evolution. We really need to get something in here. And at this point, that is going to be checkmate. There's nothing we can do against a Blastoise. That is going to be GG's. It is unfortunate. Didn't get the Moltres soon enough. Didn't get any sort of Charmeleons or anything. That is going to be GG's. It sucks having type disadvantage, but it happens. Game number 2 was definitely winnable. I kind of threw that. So let's hope in round number 4 we can clean up our errors. Alrighty, hopping into game 1 of match number 4, sorry. going up against this Moltres Scorch deck. Gonna get this Arcanine out here nice and early. If I can get some big heads, I can get a nice turn 5 attack going. Use this Pokeball, see what we get. See if we can't get a Charmander, and there it is. Throw that Charmander onto the bench, and pass to the opponent. Yeah, Moltres is a really nice card. Make me choose here. I'm going to move the Charmander to the active spot. I do have the Arcanine, which is able to kill the Scorch, so I don't mind losing this Charmander. He isn't able to knock me out just yet, though. Getting 2 heads for him is not bad. Got another Charmander off the top deck. That is not what we need right now. I'm going to attach, I think, to this Arcanine, and I'm going to pass. Getting that Charmander off the top deck is not bad here. He is set up to attack me next turn. I think I just have to keep going into this Arcanine. Kind of a tough situation. I'm going to evolve my Moltres so he isn't able to knock it out with the Moltres next turn. He does get that Scorch down nice and early. Alrighty, gonna go ahead and I think set this Moltres up so that next turn when he knocks out the Charmander, I can accelerate onto the Charizard I'm gonna have. This is gonna have to be a team effort here in order to win this game. His Moltres in the active spot is pretty threatening. Gonna promote the Moltres. Evolve to the Charmeleon. I'll put that old Amber on the bench, make sure he can't use Sabrina. He is running 2 copies of Sabrina in the deck. Attached to the Charmeleon, I need the maximum chance that we can use an attack with Charizard next turn. Three Tails is not very good. Not gonna help me. He did move the Scorch to the active spot. Using Giovanni, he is actually going to take the knockout with Moltres, so that is going to be game 1. Bit of a rough game 1, not able to get that Moltres down soon enough and accelerate energy. He played that really well. Gonna hop into game number 2. See what we can do. Hopefully get Moltres in the active spot a little bit sooner than last game. We gotta win this game, so our back's up against the wall a little bit. Going second. We do get that Moltres to the active spot. We got a Professor's Research in hand. Let's see what we can get in our first round when we go. He is starting with Moltres in the active spot. Dome Fossil on the bench. He is using a red card, a little bit unfortunate for us. Terrible hand off the red card. We do get the Charmander, so not bad. We can do something here. Attaching onto the active Moltres, we can go ahead and use Inferno Dance. Hopefully get some more heads than last time. One heads is not too bad. He did not get the Scorch down, so that is huge for us. We do have the old Amber we can put on the bench, attached to this Moltres, and we can start threatening a knockout. Or not a knockout, but we can threaten some damage next turn. And a knockout the following turn. One heads against again off the Moltres is not bad. Slowly building up that Charmeleon on the bench. Game number 2 is looking really good for us. He still doesn't have the Scorch, which is huge. We got the Professor's Research this turn. Not a great draw off that, but we can attach to the Moltres and use Heat Blast, threatening a knockout on the Moltres next turn. He is either going to have to retreat this Moltres out of the active spot, or we are going to take 2 points, so a huge swing in momentum. Let's see what he has this turn. He's taking a while on his turn. I think he's just thinking about his options right now. Alrighty, game 2 is mine. He went ahead and conceded game 2. Not really a way for him to win that one. Alrighty, let's hop into game number 3. Feeling good off of that game number 2 win. Having just a bit more Pokemon in my deck is making my deck a little bit more consistent than his. A little bit more options. Alrighty, we're getting into game number 3 here. I am going second again. Putting that Growlithe into the active spot. That is all I have. He does have the Sizzlipede in the active spot, so maybe we can get to Arcanine nice and early. He did get the Moltres under the bench. He was not able to get it to the active spot, which is really good for us. Let's see what we get off this research. We do get a Charmander, not bad. We have everything we need to get the Charizard EX on the board. I am going to just play into that Charizard at this point. Pass the turn. Just going to be attaching from hand. He did attach from hand onto the Sizzlipede to retreat into the Moltres, so he can't use Inferno Dance this turn. He does have the Scorch. Let's see if we do not get Moltres this turn. Look at the Giovanni, which is not bad for taking out that Scorch. If we can get that Arcanine up and running, I am just going to Leave the board how it is and pass. Don't need to evolve this turn. He's not threatening any way of a knockout. The board is looking really good right now. Unless he gets a huge Inferno Dance right now, we are sitting nice and pretty. He does get 2 heads with that. So he's got 2 energy onto the Centiskorch on the bench. He has no way to threaten another knockout, so I can attach to Charizard again and pass for turn. He is attaching to the Moltres in the active spot, so he is banking on getting some heads off this Inferno Dance. Let's see if he can get it. He does get 2 heads, which is kind of big for him. I do have the X speed, so I can go ahead and take out this Moltres in the active spot with my Crimson Storm attack on Charizard. $200 damage, taking 2 prize cards. Let's see if we can't get a Sabrina or something like that. At this point, it should be a pretty easy win for us. He does have the energy his Centiskorch needs. If we get a Sabrina, we can pull something up and one-tap it. Putting the Moltres on the bench is kind of interesting. Getting a Charmander is not really what we need right now. Let's see what we can do here. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to retreat, buy enough turns until my Arcanine EX with Giovanni can take out his Centiskorch. He is having to attach to the Centiskorch in the active spot every time he wants to attack. It is possible that he could retreat into the Moltres, but at this point, as long as I don't screw up, I should be able to get this win. Alrighty, and even if he uses the Giovanni at this point, my Arcanine... Oh, we did get the old Amber off the top deck. So that is going to be just about as close to a checkmate as you can get. It looks like he is going to attack for turn. I can promote the Arcanine, use the Giovanni, and win the game. He is trying to build up another Scorch, but at this point it is just about over. Yep. I do have everything I need to get this last point. Just one attack from the Arcanine EX with the Giovanni, and that is going to be game. Kind of an interesting little match right there. Definitely a tough one for me. Glad I could come out with it though. Alrighty, hopping into game 1 of round number 6. Going first is not bad. We do have Moltres and 2 Charmanders in the hand, very helpful, as well as a Professor's Research. I'm just going to put 1 Charmander on the bench for now. Use that Professor's Research nice and early, getting a Pokeball. There's a Growlithe. I think Arcanine is definitely going to be my friend in this matchup, so I'm going to throw that Growlithe out. I do have the Arcanine in hand, which is definitely good. Let's see if we can set up for a turn 5 knockout. He does have the Pikachu EX. He's going to go ahead and start attaching to that. He does have the red card, which is really unfortunate. He runs 1 red card in his deck. And I just top decked the Arcanine, so that is super helpful. And we get 2 Charmeleons as well off that research, so that's very helpful. Let's see if we can get 1 heads or 2 heads set up for a turn 5 knockout right now. 2 heads is huge. If he moves that Pikachu to the active spot, we can take it out next turn. We do have the X speed in hand, setting up a very solid board. He did promote the Electrode. He looks like he's considering switching. He is going to switch. Going to deal 50 damage with that type bonus to my Moltres, and I'm going to be able to knock out the Pikachu the turn afterwards. Looks like game 1 is going to be mine. I know it's a little early, but that is both of his energy cards that's going to be gone now. And that is going to be GG's right there, just about. I just need 1 prize point. I do have the Sabrina. only thing is if he could play 2 Zapdos, he will be stalling for an extra turn. He does have the Sabrina. Let's see here. I'm going to move this Moltres back to the active spot. He can threaten a knockout onto my Moltres. I think I'm just going to go ahead and attach to the Charmeleon. Because at this point, as soon as I push my Arcanine to the active spot, I should be able to take the game. He's running 1 copy of Zapdos EX and 1 copy of the baby Zapdos. I don't remember how much that baby Zapdos has in HP. Using Giovanni, he's going to take out this Moltres in the active spot. That's going to give him 2 prize points. I'm going to promote this Arcanine and take out the Voltorb for the game. And that's going to be GG's in game number 1. Nice quick win right there. If you're not running Arcanine with your Charizards, I would recommend you to try running Arcanine for reasons like that. Arcanine just destroys Pikachu. Pikachu is a good counter to the Charizard deck, so it just evens out another matchup. Another pretty good hand to start with. Going second, we can go ahead and start accelerating off turn 1. Let's see what he has. Already has a lot of Pokemon on the board. Let's see if we can't get on our turn a either Arcanine out or maybe a Charizard starting to get built up. One head's not bad, not too helpful either though. There's the Growlithe. I don't know if it's worth it to bench it at this point. I guess I should. Worst case scenario, it will act as a fossil. He does have that Electrode, so my Sabrina is kind of useless in this matchup. Just going to use Inferno Dance. Let's really hope that I can get Charizard or something pretty soon. 2 heads is going to be really helpful. I think I'm going to put 1 on Charmeleon and 1 on Growlithe just in case I can get that Arcanine in here pretty soon. Let's see here. 2x speed is not very helpful in this situation. $12 cards in the deck. Let's see if I can get something like a research or maybe just a promotion at this point. 2 heads is always nice. Getting both of them set up. Taking out the Moltres is fine. Let's see what we get off this top deck. Sabrina is not helpful in this situation, so that is just going to be a GG. Not able to win that one. Not too lucky. But we're going to go to game number 3. Game number 2, sorry. Did I win or lose game 1? I'm feeling a little bit crazy right now. I didn't take a screenshot. Alrighty, hopping into game number 3 now. Yeah, I do have the timestamp, so. And I know it was in the last little bit. Yeah. I'm recording the entire stream and just pausing in between games, so. It's all kind of jumbled together right now, so I know it's been in the last 20 minutes at least, because I do have the round timer, so. Alrighty, got a pretty good hand here. Gonna use the Pokeball, try to get maybe a Moltres off that. Yep, there we go, Moltres, very nice. Super lucky to get that. Now we can use the Research. Got the Arcanine in hand, super helpful. Anytime you're gonna use a Research and you have Pokeball in your hand, always use your Pokeball first. And then that way you can get the basic Pokemon out of there. Because if you use the Pokeball first, or if you use the research first, you could draw into the basic Pokemon that are in your deck instead of the basic Pokemon in your deck instead of the evolution or the item cards that you want from the research. So overall, it's better for thinning to use the I think I have to charge the Arcanine. It's a bit rough. I could have taken a knockout this turn had I put all 3 onto the Arcanine, but I was afraid he was going to have like a red card or something. He does run 1 copy of red card in his deck. Yeah, I mean, I can kind of understand that. Like, sometimes if you get a good top deck or something like that, you want to draw. But it's just, Pokemon is a bit of a game of statistics where, statistically speaking, you do want to get, like, further into your deck as soon as you can. Looks like already with a Sabrina and a setup Arcanine, I am going to take this dub. No matter what he does, he can't do 130 damage in this turn. He isn't running a copy of Raichu or anything like that, and he doesn't have the Pikachu on his bench, so this is going to be a win for me. Arcanine has definitely been the MVP in this matchup. Alrighty, and that's going to be game number 3. Going into game 1 of round number 7. Going first is not bad. Growlithe in the active spot. 2 Professor's Research in the opening hand. Not bad. Got the Charmander on the top deck. Looks like we are able to get that Moltres into the active spot. We are going to get set up super early here. We have everything we need in hand. Gonna throw that red card. Inferno Dance. Going to, I guess, not attach any energy. It's fine. This next Inferno Dance is gonna hit. We do get the Charizard down. I think I'm going to start attaching to the... just gonna attach to the Charizard. He is more consistent overall. Just gonna get up to that big one-hit KO. Not even gonna worry about it. Only one energy off this Moltres is a little bit unfortunate. Just one heads again is a little bit unfortunate. Gonna start building up that second Charizard for the guaranteed win. Man, this Moltres is not doing good this time. Looks like his Mewtwo is ready to attack. If he chooses to push that to the active spot. Just moving the Kangaskhan to the active spot. Gonna try to put some pressure on with that. I do have Sabrina in hand, so I should have checkmate here. Move Charizard to the active, use Sabrina. Just one heads is fine. Not too much damage. Using Sabrina, seeing what he's going to move to the active spot. He's going to move that Meowth to the active spot, so I can't just use Slash to take this KO. And then I still have my Crimson Storm if he decides to move his Mewtwo to the active spot. If he doesn't move his Mewtwo to the active spot, I'm just going to keep charging up my Charizard while using Slash, I think. He does get heads there. So I am within range to one-tap with that Mewtwo. So I'm going to attach to my Charizard on the bench. I think I'm going to use Crimson Storm to guaranteed take this knockout. And then no matter what he promotes, I have a second Crimson Storm with my second Charizard waiting on the bench. So that's going to be GG's in game number 1. He is going to get this knockout, but that is all he is able to get before I move my second Charizard EX to the active spot and take him out. And that right there is going to be GG. Game 1 is a wrap. And we're going to hop into game number 2 now. Going second. I do really prefer to go second with this deck. It does have so many options. Go ahead and start accelerating on your first turn. And let's see what he starts off with. Looks like he's just taking a few minutes to decide. He does start with that Ralts in the active spot. Just going to attach to Moltres. Use Inferno Dance. Looks like Moltres felt bad for me last game. Giving me 2 heads to start off with. That's huge. Looks like he does have that Curlia on the bench, so he might have the Gardevoir next turn. I would love to get a Charmeleon right about now. If he doesn't move this Ralts back onto his bench, I am threatening a knockout next turn. Let's see if he has the Gardevoir. Using Pokeball makes me think he probably doesn't have that Gardevoir. Trying to go a little bit deeper into that deck. And he does not have Gardevoir, which is kind of huge for us. We do have the Charmeleon. We can take the knockout this turn. And then even if he gets the Gardevoir in the active spot, he's not running any sort of red card in his deck. So he can't get rid of the Charizard in my hand, so I am going to take this win in 2 straight games. Looks like he might not even have the Gardevoir, so. Yep, he doesn't have the Gardevoir, so that's going to be GG's. Just going to evolve, retreat, attach, and take game 2. Alrighty, and that right there is going to be a game 2 win for me. Charizard is just a super good counter going into those Mewtwo decks. Hopping right into round number 8. Game 1. Alrighty, we're hopping in here now. Let's see what we get in the hand. We're going first. Charmander out early. Lots of Pokemon out early. Let's see what we can get. Do have the Sabrina. Gonna use this Professor's Research this turn. Getting an X-Speed and Old Amber. I think at this point I'm just gonna pass. Let's see what he has. Going to get some more Pokemon. It does look like he is opting in for the Magneton pretty early on. We do get the Pokeball. Let's see if we can get Moltres out here. We can get Moltres. Super huge hit off that. Gonna use that Inferno Dance. Three Tails is really unfortunate. Looks like he is going to be able to attack us with that Pikachu. And if we don't get a Charmeleon this turn, that is going to be game one. So let's see if we can get that Charmeleon. Somehow, some way. We do get the Charmeleon, that's huge. I am going to use the Sabrina as a little bit of a disruption card. Moving the Zapdos EX to the active spot. He does have 2 copies of X Speed in his deck. I believe he's only used 1. Yeah, he's only used 1 so far. I don't think I'm going to use this red card just yet. Going to use that Inferno Dance, see if I can't get some heads right now. We get 1, that's not bad. Let's see if we can draw into a Charizard pretty soon. This is going to be the last chance we get right now. Not getting the Charizard's a bit rough, but there's not really anything I can do. That wasn't a good hand from the start, so just gonna concede that one to him. Move on to game number 2. Going second's probably a little bit better for us. We do have a pretty good hand to start with. Let's see if we can't get a Moltres down turn 1. That would be super helpful. He does start with the Zapdos in the active spot. Already throwing out that Pokeball. Gonna get the board almost set up. Getting the Growlithe is not what we wanted on that. We do have the option for Arcanine at this point, so I think we're just gonna go straight into that. Opting for that Arcanine route. It is going to be a bit of a tough match. Gonna have to play this one real well. The biggest threat on the board is going to be either the Zapdos or the threat of a Raichu coming down. I am going to save my Sabrina's here so that next turn I can start to threaten the benched Pokemon. Arcanine is so good at dealing with all the Pokemon other than Zapdos in this deck. So if you can get Arcanine set up, it is very good. Retreating into that Arcanine. We're going to use that Sabrina nice and early. Going to pressure that bench a whole lot. He either is going to have to move up a 1 prize card Pokemon or a 2 prize card Pokemon right now. If he isn't able to bench a second... Actually, he doesn't have the second Zapdos EX in the deck. So with this Sabrina, it looks like we are going to be able to take Game 1, assuming he doesn't get a bunch of heads with the Zapdos. If he gets 3 heads with the Zapdos, it is an unfortunate game number 2. So fingers crossed right here. Please don't get the heads. Please don't get the heads. Not with my luck in game number 1. I got unlucky, now you get unlucky. Come on. There's 1. 2, that's what we needed. We are still in it. I'm trying to think through my win condition right now. Sorry about that. Got a little bit disconnected from the phone. I went ahead and opted to attack with the Arcanine into the active spot. I do have the Charizard, which is probably going to help us out in this matchup. At this point, I would rather take the guaranteed damage from either Pikachu or Magneton over the lucky one-hit KO. I need some heads right now. And I get all tails! No! That is not good for me. That is not good. That could just spell defeat right there. Need something big right now. He is putting me on a bit of a timer with all this energy on his board. I need at least one heads to guarantee the knockout. Oh my goodness. Retreating into the Pikachu EX. I did kind of expect that. I need 2 prize points. Red card off the top deck is not what I needed right now. I think that is going to be GG's, unfortunately. Unless he makes a big misplay. No, and he's got the guaranteed knockout with Raichu. Oh my goodness. Earlier I played a Professor's Research when I had Sabrina in hand, which was a bit of a misplay by me. And had I attached to that energy to had I attached the energy to overall not a bad day for me. I did end up the 59th overall player. You can't be too upset about that. Um, my opponents played really well. Just a little bit unfortunate that I wasn't able to get that last win against the Pikachu Raichu deck. But my opponent played really well. Really fun tournament. Really glad I was able to participate in it. Going 6-2 is not bad. I kind of had a little bit of a jumbled together deck list. There for a little bit, there was a little bit of an issue where one of my opponents did notice that I did not have Giovanni in my deck list. I really wish I could have had that Giovanni. Maybe the tournament would have ended a little bit different. But altogether, really good tournament. So, yeah, not too upset about my ending in this one. So, until next one, have a good one. Bye.